Hello and welcome to the 8th episode of my Beagle standard build blog. I'm Dieter and today's video will be about the E3D Hotend. The E3D Hotend again has its own manual. You can download it from the E3D website. I printed it out here. And we should follow this manual up to the thermal tightening, which will be performed at a later step. Now there's a little issue. That is, this manual is for the new style E3D Hotends, which are just out, and my printer came with the old style Hotend. So there's a couple of things a little different, and also my Hotend comes with a thermocouple instead of a thermistor. So there's a couple of tweaks, a couple of things different, but I will walk you through to it. And I got also a nice little tip for the thermocouple from the Rubber Build guys. And I'll show you in the video as well. So without any further delay, I would say, let's get started. Since the E3D Hotend is a separate kit that's just enclosed in the Beagle kit, it also comes as a separately packed bag with pretty much everything you need inside. So let's get it out first. The kit contains a heater block, a heat brake, a cooling block, a nozzle. Standard is 0.4. I already exchanged it for 0.3 for personal preferences. A fan mount. In my case, a thermocouple. The heater cartridge. And some screws and nuts and bits and bolts. We start with the heater block and the nozzle, and we screw it in like that's the correct orientation. Screw it in completely, then back by about half a turn. Now we take the heat brake and we screw in the short part. We screw it in all the way until it butts up until the nozzle, against the nozzle, like this. So now we grab the heater block and we will tighten the nozzle just a little bit, like that. So everything is tight to the hand. It won't fall out, it won't shake out, but it's not fully tight. Now what we're going to do is insert a thermocouple. As you can see, at the end of the thermocouple there's a very little piece of twisted metal and a little ball, and it goes into a very shallow hole. And now there's this little issue because we have just one wire on this side, and we need to tighten that under a screw. And normally if you do that, you will find that the wire will try to squeeze out underneath the screw. So the guys at Rubber Build taught me a little trick. We need a little spring, for example from a ballpoint, and we need to cut off just over one revolution. Like this. I think I got one revolution and a quarter or something like that. We slide that over the wire, grab the small screw, we put it all in like this. The thermocouple goes in the small hole, the spring goes over the top, and we just insert the screw through the spring Et voila! As you can see, the thermistor is held in place nicely by the spring. Don't forget the washer on top, because it will assist in clamping everything down. And now just tighten. Like this. Don't over tighten. Fixed is fixed. Now we grab our heater cartridge, which is this nice bundle, and we insert it into the hot end, into the big hole, like there. Make sure you insert it all the way through, so it makes a nice and big contact with the heater block. And then we grab the longer hex screw and we tighten the cartridge. Don't over tighten it, because if you break the heater cartridge, it's too bad. You have to get a new cartridge. It might be a very difficult task to get it out again if you misform it. And actually, tight is tight. It's good like this. Now the manual calls for checking the resistance of the heater block. So let's do that. 5.4 ohms, which should be somewhere between 25 and 30 watts of thermal power, which is okay. So pass that test. So our heater block is pretty much all set for a lot of heat, but in order to be functional, we still need to install the cooler block, which ensures that the filament will only melt right here instead of already here something, which causes all kinds of trouble and blockage. But before we install the cooler block, we will spread a little bit of thermal paste over this thread here, which makes better contact for the cooler block, so the heat actually will travel right up to here and not further up the block. Don't overdo it, just a little bit should be just fine. This is probably already more than needed, but well, it will be squeezed out on the underneath, and when we screw in the heater block, the compound will be evenly distributed over the threads, so that should be fine. So what's up next is the cooler block. You just screw it over like this. The thermal compound is indeed squeezed out, and I indeed used a little bit too much. Tighten this hand tight. Don't over tighten it, because if you over tighten, you run the risk of breaking the heat break right at its weakest point. And if you do that, well, you can chuck away your complete hot end and buy a new one, start all over. Now we should install the PTFE tube, which goes in here, and it should go all the way up to your heat break, so it should go in like something like this, which is quite a lot. Just make sure you do it right, because otherwise there will be a gap which the filament can stick into and causing all sorts of trouble. So make sure it goes in all the way. Now I actually learned a little trick. If you just insert it, you have a little bit of play because of the coupling here, like here. See? Just this little bit. So pull this, insert something in the gap. Don't squeeze too hard, of course. And then push the tube in further. And now there's no play anymore at all. This is very tight and very secure. Now we should install the duct and the fan. And the fan is actually not in the E3D package, it's in the printer package. So in my case it's here. And it's one of these two little fans. There's little markings on the fan housing, which in this case tell me the fan is spinning this direction and the air will go that way. Since we want this fan to blow over the heatsink, we will insert our screws from this side and then into the clip, fan clip, like this. So there we go. Now we just clip the fan over the heater block like this. So this is how it should be attached to the cooler block. Make sure it covers all the cooler fins, so we'll do a proper cooling job here. Grab all the wires together, grab ourselves a tie wrap and just bundle them like this. This is about as far as we can go with the Hotend for now, because the next step is configuring the firmware and do the thermal tightening, which actually means heating up this, the heat block up to like close to 300 degrees Celsius and then tighten the screws all the way down. This ensures that when the Hotend is hot, the heat break and the nozzle are still butted up against each other very tightly and don't leave a gap. When the Hotend cools down, it actually contracts and squeezes everything even further together. So this is the Hotend, which will be installed later on. So that's it for today. I would say bye.